All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Saturday sesh, where we are going to have a special jewels panel today. My name is Rachel Hofseth, Diamond Ambassador, and I have 6 of my friends on here, several emeralds, sapphires, and some other diamonds. And we're just really excited to spend this morning with you guys. And something that's a little bit special about this jewels panel, you guys know, is that we wanted to focus on questions that you guys all had rather than focusing on some of the topics that were really important to us. We want to know what's important to you guys. What kind of questions did you have for us? And that's how we're going to be answering today. We had a lot of really great questions asked last week. Obviously, we don't have enough time to get to every single question, but I think that you guys are really going to enjoy today. And I just want to share a few fun facts with you guys and just kind of cast the vision. Maybe you don't know exactly what it is to be a jewel in plexus. Or maybe you are struggling with thoughts that like maybe you could never be a jewel in plexus or whatever it is, or maybe you're like, that's where I want to be, that's where I want to go. And I think that you guys are going to be really inspired and motivated and just have fun with the answers that we have for you, just to see like, okay, I can do this too. Like, I'm inspired. I love this. So really fun facts for you guys real quick. The jewels that I have on today, I have Mandy Brummels, we have Erin Bush, Melanie Allen, Jamie Holbert, Amber Hargett, Megan Stewart with you guys today. And we range anywhere from being jewels for about 1.5 years all the way up to 6 years. In fact, I think Erin was telling me that 6 years ago today, Amber Hargett ranked emerald. How exciting is that? So we have
know that. Yay me.
so exciting, so fun. And then what else? Pretty much every single one of us started for the products. We did not start for the business, with the exception of Jamie. She started solely for the business. And Mandy didn't really want the business, but she needed the money. So she jumped in with the products first, with a focus on the products. But I always find it fascinating that people usually don't start for the business. And then the other thing that I absolutely love, that I think you guys will find so encouraging, is that there was only one of us that had previous network marketing experience. The rest of us had none. Some of them said that they loathed MLMs. One of them even said that they hated network marketing. And another one shared that she was anti-MLM. So I just find that very, just kind of a fun fact that we were like, no, ew, stop. And here we are, jewels in the company. So that was really fun for me to hear. And then what else do I want to share before we get started? I'm going to share that for the end. I have some notes. I'm going to share that at the end. But anyways, okay. So before we get started, the other thing that I want to share with you guys is I had asked all of these ladies what was something that was like shocking or surprising, because again, I think that when we get started with this business, or we see people as jewels, we think they have it all figured out, or they got going from the beginning. And so I was like, what's something shocking or surprising? So I'm going to introduce each jewel with their shocking and surprising thing. And if you want to, like, as I'm saying this, put in the comments of who you think it might be, you can do that. You don't have to, but anyways. So our first jewel today that is going to share with us was so against the business. Okay, you guys can guess who this is. So against the business that she didn't even want to look at her paycheck. And when it came in, she had her husband turn it over so that she could sign it. Didn't even want to see it, like was so against the business. So you guys can put your guesses in there. But anyway, so I would like to welcome up Erin Bush, Diamond Ambassador. Erin, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey guys, thanks Rachel. Yeah, so it's so ironic, right? Because one of my questions today is like, how do you track your income and that kind of stuff? And I wouldn't even look at it at the beginning. But Amber and I went emerald today 6 years ago. someone who loathed network marketing and would not even buy from my friends, would not look at the paychecks that came in because I wasn't doing this. I wasn't going to do the business. And, at the time, Plex 6 years ago, well, actually 7 years ago, Plexus was sending in, paper paychecks. She didn't do the direct deposit thing. So I would hand them to my husband and I would hand the whole envelope. He'd open it up. He'd turn it over. I would look at it. I'd sign it. So ignorant and foolish on what this business could be. And then when my eyes opened up to that, that's when I ran. And in fact, one of the questions I'm supposed to answer is, what do you wish you had done in the beginning? And I will answer that in I think it's one sentence. I haven't measured it out, but I really wish that I had messaged or called or texted every single person I knew. Instead, what I did was I posted and waited for people to come to me. And although, because I was really vulnerable and authentic in my posts, that worked, I missed out on a lot of level ones, a lot, because I didn't go, people were watching and then someone else would reach out to them, or they'd be like, oh, I joined because of your story, but I joined someone else. And I was like, what? But that's on me. I did not do the messaging, and that's where the magic happens. So I really wish that I had been bold enough and courageous enough to do that, because that was something that was I was fearful about, and I wish I had overcome that to do it. The second thing that I'm supposed to answer today is not as inspiring or anything like that. It's much more practical. But you guys wanted to know how to track your income, maybe some tax tips. So I'd like to cover that because my husband does a lot of that for us. So I am not giving you any tax advice right now, because I am not qualified to do that. So you can take this with a grain of salt, but I will tell you what we do so that we can maximize our income with Plexus. Okay, first of all, though, I want to show you something that I hope will be a little bit, well, actually, I'll show that at the end, because then it will be inspiring. Okay, so a single spreadsheet that lists every week at check and monthly check, something like that would be obviously very advantageous to you to be tracking your income. So, and I would all definitely recommend getting professional help when it comes to your taxes, especially because you're a self-entrepreneur, you're employed. So it's too easy to miss something. And the money you would pay like a CPA or someone, you'll get that back, get that back in taxes. So, all right, here's what we track: samples, customer gifts, thank you cards, like the purchase of them, and stamps, all office supplies, my desk, anything in the office that I have, purchased for my job, the computer, if I have to replace a computer cord, all that stuff. Travel, mileage and gas, if I'm going to events, plane tickets, hotel costs, meals that I pay for my team, meals I pay for myself, water at the airport, all those little things I keep track of with receipts. If I do anything on PayPal, I immediately print it up and I have a file that I hold on to, or Bob has trained me well after many years, because I did not do that in the beginning. Terrible. Okay. Tips for drivers, baggage handlers, housekeeping. I keep track of tips, parking and tolls. If I do a contribution to a team thing, I keep track of that. Rank gifts, Christmas gifts to my team, my phone, app purchases, Zoom, social media lighting, if I buy something so I look a little better, which I'm not using today, I probably should have, that little type thing. Books, personal development books on marketing and sales and stuff like that I've purchased in the past. Any kind of conference fees. If I pay for any virtual training, I will put that towards taxes. Let's see, internet expenses, because I could not run my business without it, right? And the key really is maintaining good record keeping and documentation. Bob wrote that down for me and he put it in big letters, like it's all capitalized. So reason behind that. Now, when you're have a self business like this, like you have to think about your quarterly tax payments, and it's not even really quarterly. So you'll have to keep on top of stuff like that. As you make more income with Plexus, then you can start looking into things like an LLC. It creates some additional tax advantages. You can consider an S Corp election. You put your kids or your family to work. How about that one? Bring your family in, make them an employee. So there's like little just things like that, and a tax professional can help you a lot more. But here is where I would like to go back to income really quick. My very first check with Plexus, I thought it was less than what he has here, but he says it was September. So that means I had been an ambassador. I think I became an ambassador in August of 2014. And so it would have been on my own products. And I think I was buying products for Abby because she had told me I was a nice mom now. And so, it was a big order. And it was $18.49. And then he, of course, has tracked that every single month for every year since then, and it's been over 7 years. But I want to encourage you by showing you something. First, this is my points from the very beginning to now. Do you see all the ups and downs? You guys, this is network marketing, being a self-entrepreneur. That's what it looks like. Now I'm going to show you my monthly income. And I'm not going to actually show you numbers, but you can guess. But I just want to show you like watching that. And then I've always told people, like, I'd encourage you to add up how much you've made from the moment you started Plexus. Add it up. You are doing that from your phone. I mean, that is incredible. So anyway, but also up and down. You see that? There's even some really big jumps down and then some big jumps up. So it's one of those things where I think if you have a good understanding of what it is to pour into your business for a long period of time, it just is so much rewarding when you can think about where you're going to go and the journey and what's happening and the amazing things that are coming in the process. All right, I will stop talking. I knew that one would take a little bit longer. Sorry, because there's so much stuff.
I love it. Thank you so much, Erin. And what I love about this is what I wish I would have learned early on is that this stuff is applicable when you're first getting started in your business. You don't have to wait until you feel like you've become successful or you're a higher rank. Like, learning this stuff early on is just going to serve you and encourage you and help you understand those ups and downs that Erin was talking about, because that's normal. That's so normal. And it's so encouraging, like you said, adding up that paycheck, because it does add up. So thank you so much for sharing, Erin. So our next guest, something that's kind of surprising, that might be surprising for you guys. And if you can put it in the chat of who you think this might be. But her business is about 98% online, meaning that she really does not have a local team. So she doesn't get together with her business builders and all that stuff. She is doing her business strictly online, which I think is very, very interesting and very encouraging for those of us who feel like, I don't have any friends, or how am I supposed to do this, So yes, you guys are right. Up next, we have Mandy Brummels, Emerald Ambassador. So go ahead and unmute yourself. And if you'd like, let's see, do you care which question I ask you first? No, you don't care? Okay. So
no, my printer's freaking out all of a sudden. I'm so sorry, you guys. It'll be quiet in a second.
Okay. I don't hear it. But let's see. Let's hear, what have you been able to do since Plexus that you weren't able to do before Plexus? Does that make sense? Did I ask that right? Oh, what have you been able to do like since Plexus that you weren't able to do before Plexus?
Sure. That one's a simple one for me. And I'm so sorry about my printer. So I started building my business when I was in the corporate world, and I was traveling and I was being promoted and I was like really, really busy. So that's proof that you can be really busy and work full time. And I grew to senior Ruby. So then I loved my paycheck at my job, and I had lots of opportunity, but I did not like Seattle. I did not like that lifestyle. I needed to get out of there. So I have been able to move, get married. I did not work for, I think it was like 3 years, maybe. I've not had to clock in. I've not had to work for someone else's goals. It's been incredible. And especially since like this COVID thing, like when kids were out of school, no big deal. Like I didn't have to find a daycare. I didn't have to like worry about my job. I could homeschool, which I hated, but I could do that. I could do that because I was available for Max. And I just opened a brick and mortar. In fact, I'm wearing my clothes, my uniform, hydration spa. With that money and that time, I'm able to build brick and mortar businesses now, and hopefully franchise all over the country is our goal. So we'll see. So that's all I have for that, Rachel. But boy, do I have a page and a half on the second question.
All right. Well, then let's just get on to your second question. I love it. I think we could sit here all day long to hear like what Plexus, like what we've been able to do. I think that's always so inspiring. But okay. Are the expectations of your downline overwhelming or encouraging? Because as you guys know, as a jewel in the company, you have a large team and we are leaders. So I'm just, that's how I would interpret that question, but I'm really excited to hear how you have to answer that.
So I love this question, and I consider myself to be a high recruiter. I add 50 to 70 something plus people a year. So I have a lot of opportunities to share or I have this huge opportunity to share with you like everything that I've done wrong and how I have created like a monster in terms of expectations and overwhelm and exhaustion. So I will keep this really short, and I wrote a list. And if you are on my team, know that I love you. This is about my mistake, my things that I've learned. So I positioned myself as the hero to my entire downline. I was available whenever they needed me to answer any question. Like I knew that they had a virtual office. I knew that they had access to team pages. I knew they had access to, all kinds of resources, but I was like, oh, I'll answer that question. I'll drop everything and answer that. I'll do this. I'll do this event 15 times. Like I was doing everything. And my husband saw me on my phone all the time. My team saw me on the phone all the time. And it was really exhausting. And what happened in all of that is because I was doing the bulk of the work. I mean, there's a few things that happened when they didn't reach their goals, when they didn't like feel that they were successful. I was like, well, I did all the work, so it must be a reflection of me. And I heaped all that responsibility on myself, and it was very discouraging. And it was like, the thing about expectations is that you just can't meet them all the time. So I created this team that had these massive expectations in terms of my time, my resources. And so that was exhausting to me. So I'm going to give you 4 things that I have learned over the years. You need to evaluate and determine like what is urgent versus what is important, because they're not always the same. And if you've ever read, or maybe you need to read, Franklin Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about that a lot. And because I didn't teach my team that, and I wasn't making that distinction, everything was a fire. Like I was constantly just doing things, constantly, because urgency usually has emotions connected to it and people want stuff right now, but there are no emergencies in Plexus. There aren't. And I was struggling to get the important things done because I was just bouncing all day between everyone that needed me. So that was the first thing. The second thing is that you need to teach your team how to find the resources, right? Teach Amanda Fish so that they can be empowered and go get that themselves. And when they ask you questions, it's okay to say, hey, did you check the virtual office? Not like, okay, let me go. I'll go look in the virtual office. I'll go to the help center. And that's what I was doing. And it just became my job to answer all the questions. And that is not your job. Okay. This third thing, teach and model the activity that you want your teams to see and don't do all the work for them. So John Maxwell has this principle where like they will watch me do it and then we'll do it together and then they're on their own. But I was like, I was just doing it. I'll just keep doing it. I'll just keep doing it. And I thought that because I loved my team and I believed in them and I wanted them to be successful, that it was like, that's what I should do because I love them. I should just do all the work for them and make it as easy as possible. And what I learned is that I was actually hindering them. I was not giving them the space to work through things and build that confidence and build their skill set. I was not giving them the space to figure things out and work through the hard. So what happened a lot when things actually got hard and I wasn't doing it, like some of them bailed because they hadn't learned the skills and like gained the confidence along the way because Mandy was just doing everything. The fourth and final thing, like, what is your team seeing you do? Like, is what you're doing duplicatable? My team, my family saw me working all the time, picking up my phone all the time, getting interrupted all the time. And it fed into some of their limiting beliefs that like, I don't have time to grow a big team. Like, I don't want a big team because it's so hard. It's so much work. And they're like, see, look at Mandy. Like she's working all the time. That's must be what it looks like. That's what you have to do to be successful. And that was just me not being like, I wasn't making wise decisions. And I had to learn that it's okay to create those boundaries, to let people struggle, like hold their hand and encourage them and empower them. But I had to stop doing the work for them. One thing that I saw Bob Heilig, I don't know if you guys are following him on Instagram, but he's doing all these really cool reels lately. And one of the things that he said was that we often spend most of our time with people that need us, which is totally backwards. Like we should be focusing our time and spending our time and our energy and our resources on people that want this because they will show up. They will be willing to work. They will be willing to like take your wisdom and your experience and your advice and run. Like all of the jewels on here did not become successful because their uplines did everything for them. Like none of us waited for our uplines to do things. We had to figure it out. So the way that I was doing things was exhausting and it was draining and it sucked my joy and my time. And as much as I loved people, it had nothing to do with how I felt about my team, but it was really exhausting for me. So if you're in that place where you're like, oh, my team, there's so much work, you might want to evaluate like how you're leading and how you're showing up for them. And then when you watch them, your team do things that are hard and you watch them work through fears and you watch them like work hard for their goals, that is super encouraging because they're doing it. You're not doing it. They're doing it. And that's like my favorite part about Plexus truly is like watching people do things that they never thought that they could do. So, okay, I'm all done.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mandy. And I hope that you guys are definitely taking notes because once again, everything that's being shared so far is so applicable to where you are at in your business. It is not something that you have to wait to learn once you become a jewel. So thank you for that. Okay. So our next jewel, do you guys want to guess while I do this little fun introduction? She said that it was shocking that she even shared Plexus at all because she felt like anyone who was doing an MLM needed to get a real job. Somebody's already already guessed. And how she went to school for 6 years to get her degree. So she thought that what she was doing was what she was going to do for her career, but then God really changed her heart. She was able to transition to Plexus as her full-time job, stay home with her babies, and that is Sapphire Melanie Allen. So Melanie, go ahead and unmute yourself. And I am going to ask, I think this is a super, super fun question. When was the moment you decided to go for it? Like just go all in with the business?
Okay, so first of all, I have to kind of preface those people need to get a real job. That was totally me. Like my mom, I don't know if she's on here, but my mom has been in multiple network marketing companies over the years and tried to get me to do all the things. And I was like, no, Mom, I went to school a long time for this degree and I'm going to use it forever. But isn't it so, and I know a lot of you can relate to this, but I had these babies come in my life and I wanted to be with them. And I didn't want to miss a minute. And I kept having babies, going back to work, having babies, going back to work. And by the time I had Caroline, my third, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to miss a minute of this time. And I was praying for a way to stay home. And I literally I'm an occupational therapist. And so I was like, oh, I can continue to do home health. I'll nurse, come back home, trying to figure out how to make all this work. Right. And I had just started Plexus and I did not think this is what I would do. I just wanted to get healthy, right? I just wanted to feel better, lose my baby weight. In the back of my mind though, I still remember Laura Ferguson, my sponsor, posting something about paying her mortgage with her pink drink. And I was like, there's no way, but I really trust Laura. I mean, we went to high school together, right? You have all these thoughts. I mean, I'm just thinking back and laughing at myself. And God had another plan, you guys. And this is why you just never know where people are at. And there's so many, objections that they can have. And God has such a sense of humor because here I am today, been home now with my kids for 8 years. And I am so eternally grateful that I followed that nudge to share. And what really started for me was I was still pretty skeptical, obviously, in the beginning. But as I started feeling better, I started sharing and I got to gold. So making about $1,000 a month. Stay there for a good while, but then I started March 2014, and I remember January 2015 being at Super Saturday, and that's why getting to events is so powerful, right? And I remember Lori Harrison doing an opportunity event, and I didn't really know what to expect, never really done any of the corporate things, I had earned the leaders retreat the year before, but didn't go because I didn't think you could bring your baby. Y'all, I had no idea how family friendly it was. I mean, again, the skeptic, right? And I went though, just and listened to Lori. And what was cool about it is she didn't really have a plan. And I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And she literally just had people come up and share their stories. That's it. So one by one, people just volunteered. And I mean, there was a line. I still remember just a line of people so excited to share what these products had done for their lives. And you're hearing people, off medication and just feeling so much better. And just like their thyroid symptoms, diminishing and all these stories. And I was just like, wow, this is real. This is amazing. And that is when I was like, why am I sitting back? I need to get out there and share how amazing these products are. And wow, I can help people just like I do as an occupational therapist, but now I'm home. What was I thinking? And it just was like this aha moment. So I went all in that year, you guys, and I drew my line in the sand and I knew it was going to work really hard. And I went from being a gold ambassador in January to an emerald the end of that year, December 31st, 2015, I became an emerald ambassador. I'll never forget it. So that year was a year of momentum. That year was a year of growth. But I drew my line in the sand and I made a decision to go for it. And I went all in, no matter what it took. And I never forgot that. And I just thought, how could I not share what these products are doing for so many others? And that was the turning point for me. Do you want me to go into the next one?
I love it. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, because I know that this one feeds so much into your story.
Yes.
And so I was really excited that somebody asked this question. And when she said, I want this one, I'm like, perfect person to be answering this. So the next question was, what are your tools for personal growth?
Okay. So I didn't really know what that meant in the beginning, right? Like I was like, I mean, I love to read back in the day, right? But I didn't really, as I had kids, it was getting harder and harder to read, although I do enjoy reading. But I still remember for personal growth, I still remember at the very beginning, probably Melissa, because I went to a lot of her trainings, told me, or, suggested probably to read How to Rock Your Network Marketing Business. And that was one of the very first books I read, that and GoPro. So How to Rock Your Network Marketing Business is Sarah Robbins. So in case you guys are taking notes, GoPro is Eric Worre. He's another network marketing professional. And I had read both of those in the beginning, and I was like, it planted a seed. But I did pull out some other books that I will say in my journey have been pretty pivotal along the 8 years, because I can't believe now in Plexus 8 years in March. It's just flown by. But this little short read really changed my perspective. And so I wanted to bring this up, because this Go for No is so good for new ambassadors too, about that perspective. Because I'm that sensitive one that, like, it hurt my feelings when people told me no. I remember having so many tears in the beginning, you guys, about so many people. Like, I was offended. Why would they not want to join me? Like my good friends and all these people that I just knew would be in Hawaii with me every year. And that's okay. Here's the thing. Like, I've gotten, of course, a shift in perspective over the years, but now I'm so confident that it's like a not right now. And I love in How to Rock Your Network Marketing Business, I remember Sarah Robbins, and this still sticks with me today. In the book, she talks about, it's kind of like someone, like say they finish their lunch and the waitress is coming by with coffee, and they're like, would you like some coffee? And you're like, no, I'm good. But maybe you've been there a while and y'all keep talking, and then you get dessert and they're like, maybe I do want some coffee now. So I've always had that perspective of just like, it's like a not right now. They're going to come back around. And I've seen that happen over and over the years now. So I wanted to encourage you that this is a great book to read if you're new, or just if you feel like you're, kind of stuck, but that shift of perspective of the Go for No. But I will tell you, along this journey, I'm actually doing 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership with my team again. This is a really good book. I haven't read it in a while, but it's a workbook as well with it. And we are going over this each week, a couple chapters a week. And I have loved getting back into this one again. So if you feel like you're struggling in your leadership, this is a great one to go back to. Or if you haven't read it in a while, this is a good one. Another book that's been pivotal in my journey is Atomic Habits. So I wanted to bring that up. And here's the secret, you guys. You can also do Audible. It's okay. To me, you've still read it. Okay, I listen to soundtracks. I've listened to some books. I haven't read every single one of them. I will say that I tend to do better just because I'm a kinesthetic learner to highlight and read. My mom is the type that listens and highlights as she reads. So there's that option. It just depends on you. But this was also a very pivotal book because I really struggled with my mindset, which is why I'm so passionate about it now. But What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter was a very pivotal book for me. I love this one so much. And it was one of my beginning books, right? Like something I read, in the beginning over time. When I finally embraced that I didn't really know what I was doing or where I was going, and I probably needed to do some personal growth. And I can't remember which training, but I still remember somebody saying, it's, network marketing is personal growth with a compensation plan. I was like, oh, I better get busy then. Because I felt stuck in my business and I knew I needed some growth along the way. Now I'm very passionate to do a lot of different things. I've done coaching programs. Last year, just to give y'all like a little scenario, I started with Success Academy with Tiffany Peterson. And I'm typically always looking for something else. I've done high performance coaching with Brooke Hemingway. I just got home from a retreat in February that was a women's retreat. It had nothing to do with Plexus, but it was just very refreshing. And it's just pouring back into yourself, filling that cup so you can pour out into others. That is so critical, you guys. So think about your joy list. Think about the things that bring you joy. You've got to be doing those things daily. They matter so much because it really is. I mean, this business, you're attracting people to your business. And so you've got to find that joy and that balance, right? And I will say just, what is that for you? And it doesn't have to cost money, right? There's so many podcasts out there. I have it all written down, but like podcasts I listen to, motivational videos. I start every morning in the Word. Every single morning I have a devotional I do. And I just started this purpose journal, which I love. It's something new I've been doing since I went to Embrace Your Ambition conference in October. And I love it so much because she talks about every day, get out of bed, drop to your knees and pray. There's a gratitude portion, writing 3 things I'm grateful for. And then step 3 is like passion, write on what's your heart to pursue. 4 is your why, write down your why. So this is a daily practice, right? And then I just started this is new. And then it's like listing your goals, but make sure to write them out like they've already happened. So like instead of saying, I want to be debt free, you say, I am debt free. So what are your goals? You write them out like they've already happened. And then she has like a to-do list. Make sure you include at least one step you can take today to reach your goals. So one action item. And then pray, write down your prayer and listen and pray hard and include those big dreams and your fears and ask God to guide not only your life, but also your business and your passion, and then be quiet and hear him. So that's something new I've just started, just to kind of, because I felt like I was really struggling with a morning routine. Anybody else out there? So that's kind of my new thing I'm starting. This has like been a struggle with me for so long. So I finally just made a decision to do it. So it's never too late, you guys, to continue to grow, to continue to better yourself. And I guess I have a passion to continue to be the best version I can be of myself. And so that's why I do it. I think that's all I have to share on that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Melanie. Again, super applicable for everybody. I just wrote down some things like even like leaders or learners. And so I would say that when I started this business, I did not think that I was a leader. I did not classify myself as one. I didn't think I had leadership qualities. But when I finally started picking up a book, it was like, oh, like you can learn these skills to become that way. And I will say that one thing that I did not do for my whole first year of being in my business, I never picked up a network marketing book. And I was kind of like, why did nobody ever tell me? And I'm sure it was on a training, but I'm just like, why did nobody like tell me to like read this? Like it was so great. So we're telling you now, like pick up a network marketing book. How to Rock Your Network Marketing Business is a great one. And then leadership books, personal development books, the Bible, everything. And I think the thing that is the most important to recognize is that don't do this for your Plexus business, because I promise you it is going to feed into every aspect of your life. So don't think, oh, I have to do this to be successful in Plexus. Think of it as like, I'm going to better myself. I'm going to develop skills because this is going to help everything. So I think that's just super, super important. Something I wrote down as well. So thank you, Melanie, for sharing your experience. And now, so for our next Jewel, I actually I like this one a lot. She actually was like, is this too sassy? I'm like, heck no, I'm totally reading this one out. So you guys can guess, I love it. When she joined, she had a good friend that she really thought was going to join her in the business, but she didn't. She told her that she'd never make it to Emerald and go to Maui. A year later, she mailed her a postcard from her first Emerald extravaganza, telling her she was glad that she didn't listen to her friend. Does anybody? Okay, I see some of you guys know your jewels well. I love this. Okay, so that was Jamie Holbert, Sapphire, and I'm going to go ahead and welcome you on here so that you can share with us. And I'm actually, yeah, so did you have anything that you wanted to add to that before I ask you your question?
I was just going to say, honestly, I was surprised that my friend didn't want to jump in with me because, we were good friends. I thought for sure she'd want to go with me. And so, yeah, I guess it was just surprising for me to hear her like not encourage me. And so, which is for me, I know some people like that, kind of that fight or flight response. For me, it was like, oh, well, I'll show you then. And it encouraged me to want to go do it, to prove it wrong. So
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, so I think kind of both of your questions, if you're okay, I'm going to kind of just group both of your questions together because I think they do kind of go together. Mm-hmm. So do you actually feel successful, or do you have to remind yourself daily? And what keeps you showing up even on days that you may not want to? So I think these are great questions. So
thank you. Yeah. And they do really go together. I'm going to kind of answer the first and then transition into the second because they kind of lead on to one another. And I will say when I joined in October 2013 and I went to my first convention here in Dallas in 2014, I had a great time. And I saw like all the jewels get up on stage and I thought, wow, like I want to be up on stage. And I thought that's what successful people do. They get to be on stage. And so kept working. That following year in December of 2014, I hit Emerald and I thought, yes, I've made it. Like I proved all my friends wrong that said I wouldn't be here. And I kind of expected to feel a certain way. And I kind of like was like, okay, like sitting back, kind of like thinking like I'm ready to feel what a plexus jewel should feel like. And nothing changed. I still kind of felt the same way. I was a teacher, and so I kept on teaching. I love teaching. I teach at the school where Kim and Melissa went. I teach Rachel's daughter this year. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe when I go to convention this next year and I'm a jewel and I'm up on stage, like I will feel successful for once. And like, I will see my name up there and just like, it'll feel different. And that was super exciting. But at the same time, I had this expectation of what I was supposed to feel like. And I still deep down didn't feel any different. I still felt like an everyday me. And I thought, okay, like this is really cool. And so then as I'm going on, I'm seeing like on the jewels page, all of these people, once they became a jewel, like they retire and they work plexus. And that's I really thought that's what I'm supposed to do. I hit jewel status. I'm supposed to retire myself, retire my husband, and I'm supposed to homeschool. I'm a teacher. I can homeschool. We had 5 kids at the time. And let me tell you, I love teaching, but I hate homeschooling. There is no way. I teach high school. And at that time, my 5 kids were in elementary school. And that did not go over well. And I felt like deep down, I remember telling Melissa and Kim, like, I am miserable. I'm supposed to be on paper, the epitome of success. I'm a plexus jewel. I retired my husband. We were both home all day long with 5 children. And I had no idea how to teach reading. And so I teach math and I'm like, the THE, there you go. There's your word, remember that. And it was just like, by the end of the year, I had a breakdown and my husband said, you can't do this anymore. Like you were created to be a teacher. You belong in the classroom. And this is stealing your joy. This is not creating you joy. And I was like, but this is what everybody does when they're a plexus jewel. They all stay home. They all have this wonderful Pinterest home and they're home. And I felt like a failure because I did not want to be at home. I did not want to homeschool. And I love being in the classroom. And I remember just really thinking through and talking with Kim, my sponsor, Kim Tharp. We're really good friends. And I remember telling her, like, I'm going back to school next year. And she was like, are you kidding? Like, you're not gonna have time. And I'm like, I know, but I'm like, I hardly work my plexus business here because I was in a state of depression in a sense, because my cup was not being filled. I felt like I had so much time in the world that I wasn't getting anything done. And I felt like, if this is what it means to be a plexus jewel, I do not want any part of it because this is not fun. I don't want to be home here. I want to be out and do the things that God created me to do. And so I took a really long time to really think about it. And then I went back to school and my kids are at the school that I teach at. And I can tell you, I teach at a private school. So you definitely don't make the money there. So it is more for your passion that why you teach there. And Plexus has allowed me to teach because I want to. I don't have to teach 5 bazillion classes or tutor 5 bazillion hours to make ends meet. But because of Plexus, I'm able to do the thing God has called me to do, and that is to be a teacher and to define success in the way that God wants it defined, and that is to operate in the gifts that He has given you. He has equipped me to be a teacher. I am on with so many talented jewels. I mean, I think about just Aaron and Amber and Janelle and Stephanie and Melanie and Mandy, like all of you guys bring so much to the table, but we're all so different and we're gifted in so many different ways. And so it was something that I had to learn to really remind myself every day that I am at this table. Don't get up from the table and leave because you're disqualifying yourself because you don't want to stay at home and homeschool. And so that kind of led into the next question, which is what keeps you showing up on days that you don't want to? Because as a teacher, I do get very busy having 6 kids. We go to a school where it's university model. So on campus, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Tuesdays, Thursdays, we are home, but I'm not homeschooling. They have work from their teachers. I'm more reinforcing what they have learned and things like that. And so it's like the perfect blend for me who's a teacher, but I also don't want to miss out on the moments on my kids. And there's times where life happens and we've had such a roller coaster of a life in my personal life the past, especially 8 years. And I just wanted to share the thing that keeps you going is not just your why, but for me, I think about it's for them, my kids. It's to show them that, you don't have to fit into this mold of what you think success is, but you create your own success through what God has gifted you with. You don't have to take the more traveled road, but you can carve out the less traveled road because that's where God has called you to be. And so on days where it is tough, I tell them like, you do what you got to do. For me, I get overwhelmed by all of the chat groups I am in because especially on days I'm teaching, like I love all you jewels, but I log in at lunch and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 150 million messages. I do not know what has been going on. And so sometimes I tend to just, I make a list and I'm like, all right, I know today I'm not going to go to sleep until I have worked my business. I have reached out to people. I have done the things I know I need to do to continue with my business. I'm an Enneagram 7. I love people. I love convention because that's my time to be plexus only. But at the same time, I also need to guard my time because the whole reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is so I could continue to teach and be there for my kids and be there as they grow up and leave. My oldest is a freshman. And so I was telling him, like, I'm so thankful for Plexus because it allows me to come and make these moments with you before you go on your own way. And so just, I think, thinking about those things of what are you doing this for? What is this business for? I was one of them that joined for the business. We needed this income because I loved working at Legacy. And my husband was working 60 hours a week and we couldn't afford for me to stay at Legacy. And so for me, that reminder is why I keep doing what I'm doing and doing, all of the things. And so that was my questions. I hope that was helpful to you all.
I absolutely loved that. The dogs found their way into our room. But no, I think I had goosebumps that whole time because I could relate to so much of what you said. And I think it's so powerful and so important to know that there isn't just one way. I think we do see a lot of the jewels and we think like, I know for me, that was my thing. I was like, I can never be like those people. So why would I even try? And so you find your own ways to be successful. And I absolutely love that. So thank you so much, Jamie. Okay, so next, this is really funny. Our next jewel, she said that there was a product that she hated so much that she would actually tell potentials and opportunity meetings how bad it was. So who do you think that is? You guys know. It was Diamond Ambassador Amber Hargett. And what I love about that though too, is that it's okay to not love every single product and still be successful. I think people think like they have one experience or they have one thing they don't like And it's like, well, I can't work this business because I don't like it. Anyway, so I love that. Amber, go ahead and unmute yourself. And you have a fun question, but I also want to ask this one because I know this is important to a lot of our people. The question is, how do you grow your network?
Yes. So I saw that we all got a list of questions and we got to pick our questions. And I would say a year ago, if I saw this question, I'd be like, I'm gonna let someone else pick that one. But I jumped at it because I feel like this is an area I've really grown this year. So before this year, I would have said like, okay, so Facebook groups, I had that down. My Facebook, I have tons of friends in the community. If you're just doing Facebook, you need to join groups in Facebook, like find something you're interested in. I live in Beaumont, California. So I am in a Beaumont moms group. And so you post in there, you respond to people as they respond to you, you friend them. You respond to posts in there, you friend them. So you get into conversations. So I have built tons of relationships on Facebook, through groups, whatever you're into. If you're into knitting, if you're into dogs, there's a million groups on Facebook you can join. And you're not, the minute you become friends, you're not like, hey, would you like some plexus? But it would be great if, like my mom's group, we have, I don't know, some sort of Tuesdays we can post about whatever we want. So I can post about plexus on Tuesdays in there. And so a Facebook group, you're just friending people, you're engaging people. You can get endless people in your network from Facebook. In real life, there are people everywhere. Everywhere you go, there are people. I remember there was a time that every time I went to the gas station, I didn't pump at the pump. I walked into there and I talked to the person behind the counter. And I don't know why I always started with like, oh, do you own the gas station? And they were like, oh no, I just work here. And I was like, oh, okay. Do you love your job? They don't love their jobs ever. I don't think I've come across one person that loves their job working there. And then I'm like, well, I'm looking to expand my businesses in this area. Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? So everywhere you go, my husband's way better at this than I am because I'm an introvert. And so he will, if you stand behind him at the grocery store, he will be getting into a conversation. You will be his best friend. So everywhere you go, just meet people, talk to people, be in, at softball games, at your kids' softball games, at gymnastics, whatever. Instead of sitting in the car waiting for them, go inside and talk to people. But the one that I'm doing the best at, I would say, because I am an introvert, in person's not very easy for me. I'm a little sick of Facebook. Is Instagram. And hopefully you have been hearing the message of Brock Johnson. If you don't follow Brock Johnson, you need to follow Brock Johnson. Follow me so you can see what I'm doing. Basically, you pick a niche on Instagram. Mine is Christian marriages, and you post about that. You do reels, preferably like one reel a day, which I probably do 4 a week or 5 a week, just depending on how my week's going. And you give value out there, give value to the world. That's the whole point of like, people are following, and I don't have like 20,000 followers, but I had in June, I had like 600 followers, and now I have like 2,000 followers. So it's grown, over 1,500 or so of just people who I don't know, who can relate to me, who need marriage advice, who most of them are younger Christian women. And I don't post about plexus on my Instagram. I post it in my stories. So that is, if you start following Brock Johnson, you can get all the tips about how to grow. There's no reason to not grow your network. You can grow your network on Facebook by groups, in person, just by talking to people, on Instagram, by narrowing down your niche, and then just doing life in your stories. I post about whatever. I just feel sorry for some of my followers, but post about whatever, my stories, and then I do my advent. Every time I do, I'm always doing a poll now when I talk about plexus. I've been doing this since September, and I just signed my first ambassador like a few months ago from it, like a total stranger just follows me. But now every single time I do a plexus post, in my stories, I get a potential and they say like, yes, I want more information. Yes, I want more information. So it might take a little time. I always tell Mark, like, he's like, why are you spending so much time on? I'm like, this is my long game. My long game is my Instagram page. So it's not like something that, and maybe it'll happen overnight. Like Natalie, she posts a reel and she got like 20,000 followers or whatever, like grew like crazy. So it might happen overnight, or you might get, 10 new followers every day or something like that. So that is my answer to that question.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Okay. Next question is, what is your, well, I mean, there's really two questions here. I don't know which way you decide to do it, but either what is your favorite part of being a jeweler, or what is your favorite Plexus memory?
My favorite part of being a jewel is the money. So that was short. And then my favorite Plexus memory. So I started thinking like, man, I'm thinking about like when Emma and Mark jumped off a cliff in Hawaii and there was a waterfall and, all the gifts and the trips. And I love gifts. So like, I still wear my sandals that Plexus gave me, but I started thinking about like I have two, my favorite Plexus memory might make me cry. Was a yard sale that I had recently with Holly Overholt. And I went to help her at her yard sale, and she got rid of her last disability item that she owned, which was a walker. She sold her walker and she said, that was the last thing I owned from before Plexus. And I thought like, oh my gosh, that is what I love. That's like my favorite memory of like, because I started on Facebook singing these ridiculous parody Plexus songs. That's how I started my business. Aaron saw it, Holly saw it, and her life was changed, and so many different lives have been changed. So I would say that was my favorite memory. And then also another one just recently was, a lot of you know that my daughter almost died recently, and I was really, really, really sick. And I was laying in bed, like trying to breathe, and a package came from Kim Tharp. And it was a personalized to every single person in my family. I know my sister helped too. My sister was doing a ton, and a lot of the Autumn was like at a diamond retreat, like barely there because she was trying to help get me the medicine I needed and the help I needed. But just the support and the love from Plexus people during that time, I thought these friendships and this community is absolutely amazing and like no other. And so that's like what I'm most thankful for, is the people that were able to help and the relationships and the support in the community that this has given me. That has just been absolutely like life-changing and just what it means the most to me.
Well, thank you, Amber. I don't think any of us expected to come here today and cry. I think you totally did. But such good tears, like that's such good things. Like that is really, really special about Plexus and just our community. So thank you for sharing that and reminding us about that. Okay, so we're gonna just go ahead and move on because we're getting close to end of time. But kind of piggybacking on what Amber's kind of shocking and funny thing was, and how I said you don't have to love all of our products, but we really only have one other jewel. So you guys are gonna figure this one out quickly. But what she said is that she called the ER with her first experience with Accelerator. So I'm going to welcome Emerald Ambassador Megan Stewart to the call now, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab onto it with you. Yours are definitely business questions. Let's see, how long did it take you to get your first goal? Or maybe what has been the hardest goal for you to reach?
I think my first goal was definitely gold. I didn't have my sights set on emerald at all. And I would say my hardest, obviously emerald is definitely hard, but I feel like between gold and senior gold was really where I just really struggled. I think it was like personal development. I refused to do personal development because I was like, I don't need that. Who does that? And so I think that that's where my biggest growth was, is just, I hit my lid. If you guys have read the book, and it's just like, I hit my leadership lid. I definitely, like, leadership is not I always say, like, I'm not a natural born leader, but personal development definitely helps with that. And I think that that's where the huge growth happened for me, was between gold and senior gold. I'm going to go quick because I know we don't have a whole lot of time.
Okay, so next question, which I thought this was an interesting question for people, but they wanted to know, what does the end of the month look like? And I'm just going to add on as a jewel.
It's crazy. I think the other thing I love that, we talked about community a little bit, is that we all get together and do sushi, even though we're all in different parts of the country. And I just love that. I think that it makes you feel like you're a part of something. And so I love that. And I really never had sushi before, so it's been a new experience. But the other thing that I did too is, like, once I think right before I hit jewel status, but like on the calendar, I started putting like a highlight end of the month, because so many times, like, my husband would plan something and he would be gone. And it's like, literally, there are times, I mean, each month is different, but there are times where the last day of the month, I don't move from the couch. So you're like, you guys are on your own, you're making dinner, you guys, like, you have to do you, and I'm over here. And so I think that's important to, like, verbalize that to your family, so that they know, like, you're not just over there playing all day, you're literally working all day. And every month is different, but sometimes if you have a team that's hitting goals, like, you're going to be sitting there pretty much all day. And then, like, I did write some literal things. Like, I think that we all should do this, but like, if you have a team that you have team members that maybe haven't hit 100 PV that have points, I go through and I make sure that I find those people and I let them know, hey, like, you're at 99 PV, you're not going to get paid on your points if you don't, do another order. Look for people that are close to 500 PV, because that's where you jump to the 25%. Also, look for the people that are close to silver. Maybe they're just one person away, or like for right now, this month, every person that is one away, maybe they have one person and they just need one more person for that $50 bonus, or they have 3. Go and remind them that they have that bonus coming, because a lot of people don't know about the consistency bonus. Hopefully you guys know about that. Look for credit card declines, orders that didn't go through. And then anyone that is between 25 and 49 PV, or from 50 to 99 PV, I'll let them know, like, maybe there's a special that they didn't take advantage of. So you go back and find those people just to help them. And then also I make sure I go back. Hopefully you guys keep a list. I know I'm not the greatest, but go back to my own potentials, my own personal business. Don't forget about that. And, remind them, hey, this special is ending at the end of the month. I know we have like great specials this month. So that's usually what my list looks like at the end of the month. And then it just really depends. If other people have goals, you literally might be just sitting on the couch, drinking water and eating sushi for the day. So.
Yes, thank you, Megan. I love that. And again, to make that applicable for everybody, because, people have different size teams and stuff. So if you're kind of somebody that's just getting started and working, it's just a good reminder that you may not be sitting on your couch all day long helping your team, but take a look at the incentive for the month. What is Plexus offering you? Don't think, oh, well, I'll just do it next month. Because you never know, like, sometimes there are not incentives. And so you want to always take advantage of what is there. Like we always say, don't leave money on the table, so I love that. Everything can be applicable for every stage of your business that you're at in Plexus. And I am going to just go ahead and wrap us up because we are over time. But I want to just encourage you guys to, like, if you really, if we would have mixed up the order of the questions, I think what you would find is that everybody would probably have their own experience and have a slightly different answer to the question. And when I was getting started with my business and I would see that and I would hear like other people sharing their experience and what they were doing, it was so encouraging to me. That kind of going back to what Jamie said, like, there's not just one way to succeed. I think that what you're going to find, and I wrote this down, is that all of the jewels, we all have different stories. We all have different journeys. We all have different time frames, different goals, our urgency, like the reasons why we're doing the business, they're all different. But what we have done is we have never given up. We have never quit on our business. We have never quit on ourselves, and we have stayed committed for the long haul. We talk about Plexus being a legacy company. So like, ask yourself, like, am I in this for the long haul? Going back to what Erin shared at the beginning, how her business, she's been tracking it. Perfect example, real life example of how it's the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs. So what I want to like leave you guys with is that if you guys just stay committed and you're in this for the long haul, and you guys are showing up, you're putting in the work, you're learning to grow. And I even, you know, what Melanie said, leaders are learners, and you just commit to that process. And you're not just putting in, like, you're not just showing, but you're actually applying the things that you're learning, and you're getting uncomfortable. Like, it's inevitable that you're going to find success. Like, it's inevitable. I've heard Melissa Eichenhorst say that all the time. Like, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So you guys just have to continue to show up, adjust your goals, come to the trainings, apply the things that you're learning, and put your blinders on, right? Like, don't look left and right. I mean, there's only 7 of us on this call. We're all different, right? And we're finding success in different ways, but we're all showing up, and we're just sharing our passion, and we're willing to learn and grow and fail and move forward. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. I am so thankful that you guys jumped on here. Share this with your teams. I know that this is a longer Saturday sesh, but there's so many good nuggets here. And I can't wait to hear from more jewels at a different one with more questions. So we might try to do this quarterly, but we love hearing your questions and wanting to know what's important to you guys, because that you guys are on this journey, and we want to support you and help you through that. So again, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.